Ever stumbled across a mushroom while hiking and wondered, what's its story? Well, on today's deep dive, we're journeying into that fascinating world, the world of fungi. These often overlooked organisms play such a vital role in, well, everything.
Yeah, it's the hidden influence that I think is so captivating about fungi,
Yeah.
They're essential to life on Earth as we know it, shaping ecosystems, even holding potential for things like medicine.
And get this, some fungi even challenge our very notion of size. Forget blue whales. There's a humongous honey mushroom over in Oregon, scientifically known as Armillaria ostoii, that puts even the largest animals to shame. This single organism sprawls across an area, get this, equivalent to 1,300 football fields.
It's mind-boggling when you try to picture something that vast, that ancient. This honey mushroom, the same type you might enjoy on, say, pizza, it spreads underground via this network of hyphae, which are these tiny threads, and they connect to tree roots throughout the forest.
Okay, so wait, we're talking about one giant interconnected organism.
Precisely. Imagine scientists analyzing the DNA of mushrooms across this vast area, and what they find is they're genetically identical. It confirmed that it's a single organism estimated to be over 8,600 years old, older than the pyramids. It really, it completely changes your perspective on what actually constitutes a living entity.
It definitely makes a walk in the woods a lot more intriguing. And speaking of ancient life, our sources actually took us even further back in time. We're talking about a time when massive tree-like fungi called prototaxites dominated the Earth's landscape.
Picture this. Millions of years ago, these towering fungi, reaching heights of 8 to 9 meters, were the most dominant life forms on Earth, and they were instrumental in shaping the planet as we know it. Imagine, they were breaking down rocks, creating the first soil.
So they were like Earth's original landscape architects. Did they have a hand in creating the air we breathe too?
Absolutely. Their metabolic processes released oxygen into the atmosphere, a key factor that paved the way for plant and animal life. It's incredible. These fungi were breathing life into our planet long before we ever existed. But here's a mystery that continues to intrigue scientists. Around 370 million years ago, prototaxites, they vanished from the fossil record.
What could topple these giants of the fungal world?
Well, one theory suggests that the rise of vascular plants with their more efficient photosynthetic abilities, they just outcompeted these ancient fungi. It's like this classic case of survival of the fittest, but playing out on a planetary scale.
It makes you wonder, did prototaxites inadvertently pave the way for their own demise by helping to create a world where other life forms could thrive?
It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? It really highlights how interconnected life on Earth is in this constant dance between evolution, adaptation, and sometimes, well, extinction.
From shaping our atmosphere to potentially holding the key to our planet's past, fungi certainly have a knack for surprising us. But their story doesn't end there. Ready for another twist in our fungal adventure?
Absolutely. What if I told you there are fungi flourishing in one of the most inhospitable places on Earth?
Look.
We're talking about the radioactive ruins of Chernobyl.
Fungi living in Chernobyl. Now that's what I call resilient. How is that even possible?
Well, you see, when researchers first ventured into those highly radioactive areas of Chernobyl, they were astounded to find a variety of fungi not just surviving, but flourishing. And we're not talking your average, everyday mushroom here.
So these Chernobyl fungi, they were practically thriving on radiation.
Precisely. They're called radiotrophic fungi, and get this, they were absorbing radiation and converting it into a source of energy, much like plants use sunlight for photosynthesis.
Oh, that's incredible. It's like something out of a science fiction novel, but with, a real-life ecological twist.
It really highlights the adaptability of life, the remarkable ways organisms can evolve to survive in even the harshest environments. Who knows what other secrets these extremophiles might hold?
Yeah, it makes you wonder, if fungi can thrive in conditions like Chernobyl, what does this say about their potential in other extreme environments? Maybe even beyond Earth.
It's a question that has certainly captured the imagination of astrobiologists. But for now, let's bring our focus back to Earth for a moment, specifically to the forests of Canada. Our research uncovered a medical mystery there that highlights, well, yet another fascinating aspect of the fungal world.
Oh, do tell.
In the early 2000s, a tropical fungus called Cryptococcus gattii, it started causing severe respiratory illnesses in Canada, and this was far from its usual tropical habitat.
A tropical fungus causing problems in Canada. That doesn't seem right.
Exactly. It was a baffling case that left scientists, well, they were searching for answers. You see, Cryptococcus gattii, it's typically found in warmer climates, yet here it was causing outbreaks in the Pacific Northwest.
So how did this tropical fungus end up causing respiratory problems in a place like Canada?
Well, the leading theory is climate change. As global temperatures rise, some fungi, like Cryptococcus gaddii, they might be migrating to new territories, adapting to environments that were once unsuitable.
It's a stark reminder that the impacts of climate change, they extend far beyond things like rising sea levels and extreme weather. We're talking about potentially global impacts to health.
It really underscores how interconnected our planet's systems are, how even subtle shifts can have these, like, cascading effects on ecosystems, even human health.
It makes you think twice about the potential consequences of a warming world, especially when it comes to the spread of diseases.
Indeed, and it really highlights how important it is that we understand these complex relationships, between climate, ecosystems, and human health.
This deep dive just keeps getting more and more intriguing. From ancient giants to these like radiation-loving extremophiles to fungi potential like reshaping the landscape of disease, we've covered a lot of ground.
And we're not done yet. We've still got to explore the curious connections
Yeah.
between fungi, shamans, and perhaps even the inspiration behind some iconic video game characters.
You're talking about magic mushrooms, aren't you? Now things are about to get really interesting. Tell me more.
Well, for centuries, shamans, those spiritual guides found in various cultures around the world, they've used certain types of mushrooms in their rituals, specifically a type known as Amanita muscaria.
Ah, the classic red and white toadstool. I remember reading about those. What makes them so special?
Amanita muscaria contains psychoactive compounds that can induce altered states of consciousness, often characterized by vivid hallucinations and a sense of euphoria.
So we're talking about the kind of mushrooms that make you see things. Fascinating. But what's the connection to video games?
Some researchers believe that the visual distortions caused by Amanita muscaria, particularly this effect of seeing objects as larger or smaller than they actually are, might have inspired the fantastical imagery we see in Super Mario games. Especially Mario's mushroom-fueled growth spurts.
That's a really intriguing theory. Are we saying Super Mario might owe its existence to ancient shamans and magic mushrooms?
Well, while it's impossible to definitively say whether the creators of Super Mario were directly influenced by Amanita muscaria, it's a theory that has certainly sparked a lot of debate, and it's captured the imagination of many.
I can see why. It's fascinating to think about these unexpected ways in which nature might inspire art, culture, even our entertainment.
Absolutely. But it's important to remember that while some fungi can induce these, fascinating, even mind-bending effects, others can be downright dangerous.
That's true. Fungi occupy this fascinating duality, don't they? They can be both incredibly beneficial and incredibly dangerous.
Exactly. On one hand, we have mushrooms that nourish us, yeasts that help us bake bread, even molds that have led to groundbreaking medical discoveries. And on the other hand, well, some fungi produce toxins capable of causing serious illness, even death.
It's like a game of Russian roulette in the fungal kingdom. Speaking of which, I can't help but think of the, well, ominously named destroying angel. I read that it's one of the most poisonous mushrooms in the world.
You're right to be wary of the destroying angel, or, scientifically speaking, Amanita bisborgera. This mushroom is notorious for its deceptively delicious taste, which unfortunately masks these incredibly lethal toxins. Ingesting even a small amount can be fatal.
It's terrifying how something so seemingly innocuous can be so deadly.
Yeah.
But on a more positive note, you did mention groundbreaking medical discoveries. It's amazing how something that can be so harmful can also hold the key to, saving lives. This is where penicillin comes into the picture, right? It's remarkable, isn't it? How something seemingly destructive can lead to such a, well, life-saving breakthrough.
It really is, yeah. The discovery of penicillin, it's got to be one of the most transformative advancements in medicine, and it all traces back to, well, a humble fungus.
I think most people know the story of penicillin, but could you, I don't know, walk us through it?
Of course, of course. So picture this. It's 1928, and we're in the lab of Scottish scientist Alexander Fleming. He notices something strange, something peculiar in one of his petri dishes. This dish, it's got bacteria in it, but it's been accidentally contaminated with a mold. And here's the intriguing part, see? The bacteria, they just weren't growing anywhere near this mold.
So this mold was what, stopping the bacteria in its tracks? What a fortunate accident.
Serendipity, yeah. It often plays a role in these scientific discoveries, wouldn't you say? Anyway, Fleming, he identifies the mold as Penicillium notatum. But this observation, this was just the first step, you see.
Right, right.
It took years of dedicated research by other scientists, notably Howard Florey and Ernst Chain, to figure out how to produce this penicillin in quantities large enough to actually use as medicine.
Didn't the urgency of World War II play a role in accelerating that development? I feel like I've heard that somewhere.
Absolutely. During the war, infections were a constant threat, to the soldiers, especially on the front lines. Penicillin, it really emerged as this, well, beacon of hope, and the race was on to produce it on a large scale. You had scientists and pharmaceutical companies all around the world pooling their knowledge, their resources, and that led to, these innovative fermentation techniques that allowed for mass production of penicillin.
It's incredible how human ingenuity can be driven by, well, the need to heal, to protect.
It is. And it's also a good reminder, isn't it, that even when we're faced with global conflict, the pursuit of knowledge, the betterment of humanity, well, these things can prevail. The legacy of penicillin is, well, it's a powerful one. Millions of lives have been saved thanks to this groundbreaking discovery, all stemming from a seemingly insignificant mold on a petri dish.
Talk about not judging a book by its cover, huh? It really highlights how nature can provide solutions to even our most pressing challenges in the most unexpected ways.
It does. And it also underscores the importance of scientific curiosity, the power of just observing. You never know where a simple question, a curious observation, might lead.
It's true. It's true. Well, from those ancient fungal giants shaping the very air we breathe to the front lines of modern medicine, we've covered a lot of ground on today's deep dive. We've uncovered medical mysteries, explored the mind-bending world of magic mushrooms, even discovered that surprising connection to a beloved video game.
And even then, we've only just scratched the surface. The fungal kingdom, it's vast, full of mysteries that are just waiting to be unraveled.
That's what I love about these deep dives. It always leaves me with this sense of wonder, this thirst to learn more.
I agree.
So, to our listeners out there, the next time you see a mushroom, I want you to take a moment. Take a moment to appreciate the intricate beauty, the hidden potential of the fungal world.
It's a world full of possibilities.
From shaping our planet's history to, who knows, maybe even holding the key to future discoveries. In medicine, technology, you name it. It's a reminder that the natural world is just full of surprises.
It is.
So keep exploring, keep asking those questions, and who knows what you might discover, maybe even right in your own backyard.